definitely decide how much money we're gonna spend, and it's pretty darn consistent and I think reasonable. I don't see a lot of fluff here except for in PD. No, I'm kidding. I don't see a lot of fluff here, which is good because we don't need a lot of fluff. So I want to commend all of y'all for spending a lot of time working on this, and it makes sense to me. Y'all took some time. So with that said, we met with Mr. Youngblood before today, and he gave us some information that the county property values were reassessed, and we believe that will inure to the benefit on the revenue side to the city. If you can recall from last year's discussions, we thought that a mill was worth about $120,000 or so. We're projecting this year that one mill will generate about $175,000 in revenue. If you look at page 2 of the revenue of the budget materials that you've got, you'll see that 12 mills generates about 2.1 million, which is about $175,000. So that's good from a revenue perspective. And this budget, of course, keeps us at 12 mills. So with that said, now's a good time for discussions from any of you if you have any questions. And then, of course, leaving it up to each department head who are here today if they wanted to add or explain anything in their particular budget. Now's a good time to do that. So with that said, any questions or comments?
Mr. Youngblood, give us an overview, 30,000 foot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your opinion. I mean, like the mayor said, I mean, I think everybody, you know, usually you come in and it's like, all right, guys, start cutting stuff out of this. But I mean, this is with Gluckstaff, there's no such thing as a bare bones budget, but this is reasonable. Now granted, you see it's over $300,000 in the hole, but I mean, we know why.
Does that also include Bear Creek if we?
What we have in there for what I have in there, I consider this as conservative as I have a tendency to understate revenues, overstate expenditures because I don't want surprises, right? What we have in there, and it's not going to happen this way. I don't know how much y'all have discussed the potential numbers on Bear Creek, but look, correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay, Mayor, maybe $186,000 a year for Bear Creek for the facility. I've got in this budget, like you're in Bear Creek for the entire year, which we know is not going to happen. Same thing with the utilities that would be associated with City Hall or Lone Wolf combined. I've got the Bear Creek number in there instead of these numbers, these current type numbers, because they're bigger. But again, it's not, we know it's not going to happen. So from a building purchase or rent, however you want to call it, I don't like to say we didn't pad the budget. We've got a worst case scenario expense wise.
So I'm sorry, so you got both expenditures, utilities here and, okay.
I've used the higher of the utilities, which would be the Bear Creek facility. So
and
that's
for
what.
reference, it's on page 33, general admin. There's a number of notes in Bear Creek.
Yeah.
If that helps.
Now, one thing that's not in here because it's just a complete unknown is any capital improvements that might need to be made to that facility. Could you move in without some improvements? I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
we
you
can.
would have to have a board.
Yeah, we can move in and have our offices, but we're gonna have to do something to build out a boardroom to have a place to have a meeting. So I don't know, maybe the contractors on the board can tell us more, but sounds like $100,000 number would be a good number to put in for that, although that's probably an overestimate.
That's the 2027?
That'd be this year or 28?
I mean, no, 27.
27.
Be next year, we'll start building something else.
Depending on how fast they're at.
So what we're talking about is basically being in that facility within a year from now. Probably gonna be like, more like 14 months from now, but that's kind of the plan.
Just to piggyback on that, we don't have anything like for repairs too. I know moving to a building right now, something breaks here, the landlord fixes it. On some Bear Creek, we've got to cover that. So then that would go into the supply, would just something to consider.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, pages 33 through 36 kind of outline utility estimates, building rent or, payment. Things like furnitures, fixtures, we're gonna have to probably rewire some things when we get in, we just don't know. So right now, it's a guessing game as far as the timeframe is concerned and kind of the general
You brought it
estimate of
up.
what it's gonna take.
I think it would be
You're
conservative to go ahead and put it as much as in this budget as we can. Like we're in it today.
I'm sure there'll be just like PD things that we're not
Yeah.
thinking of at the moment, whether it's landscaping or, things that'll be surprises, but
If we did move into Bear Creek this time next year, we're not gonna really have enough time in 27 to spend what we're probably talking about. So we're probably talking about spending that money in 28.
technically 28.
And I guess if we move in, say this time next year, and we budgeted for rent that far, we could always move that money towards whatever repairs and initial
Exactly.
move in that we could, that we would have.
Well, I may have to go to the Bear Creek Bank. And then that's gonna go,
What's that?
the Bear Creek Bank, we're gonna have to start paying that.
That's the
More
more
than the rent.
If, yeah, when you,
Or the-
depending on how the Bear Creek, is how it's set up, if it's a yearly payment, is it gonna be a monthly payment or a yearly?
Monthly.
Okay, it's monthly, because it's yearly and you pay it next July, well then 186 is gone. But that, if it's monthly, then that's beside the point. Okay. What's the combined rent on Lone Wolf in here? You're
Well,
right.
that's covered.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, so
Right,
12,000, because 3110, I believe, for Lone Wolf,
Almost
and
nine
80, 88 round numbers for, Tully Dabs. That's probably gonna go up a little bit too. when we renew. That, it'll probably go up a little bit when we renew, once we figure that out, or I want to keep in City Hall.
It is gonna go up. It's gonna go up, in fact, he was supposed to send me a release and he hasn't. It's going to go up because he wants us to pay the taxes and the insurance over the extended period of time. I forget what the increase was. Maybe $1,000 or so a month.
See, that becomes the question. I mean, if you are going to renew here, are you just gonna try to do it for just the 1 year?
Yes. And I've got his agreement to do that. He hasn't sent the proposed release of each year.
The combined Lone Wolf and City Hall payment is give or take 12,000. Monthly 186, it's about 15,500. That's not a lot. That's actually not building a lot of cushion in. It's only 2,500, well, 2,500 a month times the 12 though. But there may be 3, 4, 5 months overlap
Yeah.
of here and
Yes.
now could Public Works move in faster than City Hall could move in?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's the plan.
So we do renting that space, correct?
The Bear Creek space.
Bear Creek
Or we
space.
already do things with this.
So, no, I mean,
You know,
we'd have to figure out, because y'all would move over, once they vacate that area, y'all would move over first, hopefully by December, is what we're looking at, Chris. Is that what y'all?
depending on what we work out with the lease that we got now, I guess.
I'm sure they would expect us to pay something when we move to Bear Creek. Just PW.
I haven't talked about one price. I could call.
I know, it's been hard to get information out of him.
Yeah, yes. We,
I gotta talk to them about some parts stuff, so mention it whenever I'm up here.
I'll have to get closer, try to figure, see what else we potentially might put more in here. Clearly, we need to put, give or take 100,000 in for creating boardroom and other such things. And like you said, repairs, we need to try to put a guesstimate on that.
No Gluckstadt signs this year.
I'm not spending any more capital on trying to get a Gluckstadt sign. I forget where we were the other day. We drove through a town and it said, welcome to such and such. I'm like, it's a shame we don't have such a sign, but somebody else will have to do it.
Is everything in here for the park?
Everything except upper building. That's not in there just because I don't have any idea what it would be.
I was wondering the other night about security. Do we need a what do you call it, flop camera or something like that for license plates? Emergency phones. I've seen them in Madison, things like that. Maybe we get a grant.
We have security cameras,
Oh,
but that's, we have to have the pavilion and everything else in order to have all that stuff centralized anyway. So that's something we're still working on and still in the process of actually trying to pursue.
Right.
If I get a number, it might be a workshop 2 or 3 and we'll just have to discuss it then. But it's definitely gonna have to be bid out. So I won't technically know until I have to bid it out.
But as for numbers and what you're looking at here, there's nothing in there because this is strictly general fund. And right now, any park is in its own separate fund, a separate capital outlay fund.
I got you.
Which essentially just has the reimbursable
Phase 1, phase
grant
2.
and Blue Cross Blue Shield grant.
You said the Blue Cross Blue Shield is in capital outlay?
The park.
No.
I'm sorry.
What we're looking at here is strictly general fund.
Yes.
The park has 2 other funds that are capital funds. Nothing to do with this one.
Okay.
One has the most grant, the reimbursable money. $1.5 million, give or take. Exactly. And the
2.3.
and the 2.3, 2.6, whatever Blue Cross Blue Shield is in its own.
So it's not included in the general?
Not at all.
Okay.
And at this point, they've both been moved out of the general fund and hold their own funds.
But that's not, is
You'll see
that,
that on bank reconciliation next week.
but that's not complete amount that they're donating, is it?
Yes, so, Blue Cross Blue Shield, we've already received the full payment. That's
And
been
how much is that?
2.3.
Could have sworn we talked about 3 ago, several times.
By the time it was all done and we did budgets, because that was back when they were gonna help with the pavilion and a couple of other
So it's
things.
been reduced,
Yeah,
okay.
we struck, I think we struck our feet.
Okay.
It's just strictly playground equipment, fitness equipment, and concrete walk.
And that 2.3 has now been received in full by the city. It was put into our general fund initially, now it's been moved out. The 1.697 for the most grant has also been moved out of the general fund, but that's really to pre-fund that, it's a reimbursable grant. So we had to pre-fund it, but in a separate account, so it's encumbered.
And then after the capital expenditures, everything's done. You've got a park. Then the recurring expenditures will either be under Public Works or under another department, under the Parks and Recreation Department.
Right. And so do we have that
So would that be in this year's budget or next year's budget?
No, that's not considered at all because we're only looking at 27. That's
The part's
28.
not done yet.
28 plus.
Next year.
It's gotta be,
Finishing next
the
year.
playground has to be in by October, the most grant has to be finished by spring next year.
So we have to be
Well-
done.
Following year, 20 years.
Is there anything,
28.
is there anything in here budgeting for grants that we have to match in the future? it's just a toss-up. We're not sure. I mean, we can go by history, and that's what we've got in there. It's like the traffic grants, 35,000. That's not a match though.
Right, but like some grants are a match.
Yeah.
But like a 20% match.
It is hard until we know what we're going for,
Right.
what to budget for.
So there's never been anything set aside for
Matches specifically.
that typically comes out of the general.
We essentially do a budget amendment. You know,
And
once y'all decide y'all are doing a 10%, 15, or 20%. Usually with a lot of those grants, the more match, the better odds of getting the grant. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it's hard. That's a kind of a moving target.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we needed to budget something for that.
You would kind of be pulling that number out of thin air, which you could do.
Right.
I mean, you could say $500,000 to match grants, but there's not really much basis for that, other than if Chris and Lindsay and Scott, and PD, people who we get grants for, if they had some idea on the horizon about what we might want to spend.
Some of the like the Calvin Station Parkway, Dee's Drive grant that we have, that is taken into consideration there, but it's not all in there because that's a multi-fiscal year job, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes those grants last for 3 years or.
Yeah.
That's the, keep in mind the time frame for the grants.
Chris, speaking of matching funds, when the county finally starts spending money on Weisenberger Road, the city has a $50,000 match. Do you expect that to be FY 27 or 28?
28 or 29, I would guess, if it.
I mean, I know you're not the authority on that, but in this room, you're.
That one's got so much extra to deal with it that they haven't ironed out. I
Gotcha.
mean,
So we don't have to worry about this 50,000 this year.
they're getting close. If I hear something soon, I'll call Stan with the engineer and see kind of what their timetable is. But it'll probably be the tail end of the project that we would have to owe that, which would be well off down the road.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anything else?
Well, I'll just say, thank you guys. It's nice that you're trying to read everything, and cut this and cut that, so I think you guys did a great job on the budgets. I'll just ask, I just want to ask each person, so Chris, besides like what, Alderwoman Campbell asked you, is there anything else in the budget you think you're missing or lacking? Do you have everything else that you want?
We're good. I mean, I know the park is coming in and it's gonna be a bigger expense than what we want, so I'm kind of moving public works, just putting us on maintenance mode, kind of for an FY. We'll reevaluate next summer, but we're really going into moving some money over to try to get this park off the ground. A lot of our stuff's gonna go to it. A lot of our manpower is gonna go to it as far as our guys. But that's on purpose. We don't need anything technically, that I can think of right now. The money is in there. If the Madison County Road Plan, gets turned over and we can spend that money's gonna be moved over for that. That's all taken into account. As long as we can do that, we're good to go.
All right.
We have no streets outside of maybe Stout Road and Old Buckstad Road down there, but those are our worst streets and they don't get paid. We're just gonna have to limp on them for another year. Regardless, I mean, that's a $400,000 road, so we're gonna have some help some way or another with that road.
All right.
I got another question. So under the general fund and expenditures and transfers, the adopted budget of 804, but we transferred 4.8
That's gonna be your grant transfers.
Because
on expenditure. So we spent 4 million match grants that we received.
And so the way that it works is we have to build, whenever we get an award notification, we have to build a revenue side and an expenditure side. And that transfers line item is just what we moved out of the general fund to the expenditure side of the fund for Blue Cross Blue Shield or MEPS. So that should total all the expenditures for those.
4 million.
It's just,
Are
we
you
have to have a
looking at
line
last
item to transfer.
yeah, just looking at the original.
Yeah.
the current-
A big part of that off top, most grant 1.6 was transferred out. Blue Cross Blue Shield 2.3, that's almost the entire thing right there. Then you also have, the PD station, that's like $600-something thousand. So between those three alone, that's almost your number right there. It's pretty close.
See, the revenue side is captured in your, intergovernmental.
Right, it's intergovernmental and miscellaneous.
Which are all different, and that's the reason why we're looking at that. All three of those numbers are different.
That's all there's now.
Yeah, when you see the transfers, essentially where we're taking money from general fund and putting elsewhere.
Okay.
I think there's some of that, so for expenditures, it's us every time moving it out. So it's all gonna go to one line item. When we're receiving money, you get different sources. And so we have different line items for each different source. And so that's why it's not like 4 to 4, it's, 1 to 4, and it adds up, something like that. But it's the source of the money we're getting. How we have to do it to account for it, we can't put everything in one line. Don't get me wrong, I would love to have 2 line items. Right?
Yes.
But we're not legally allowed to do that, so we have to do it this way.
What's the next step?
And when they come in to audit, they want to see separate line items. So, traffic grant, for example, we've got DPS, we've got DPS overtime, we have
I sure
regular,
got a question.
we have DPS salaries and regular salaries. So they can delineate which is which. On personnel, if it's their salaries.
All right, Mr. Bowles.
All right, yep, I still got some more questions. Miss Stephanie, you have everything in the budget that you need? Is there anything you're lacking?
She's missing a monkey.
She's missing a month.
I've been
I
asking
don't,
for that.
I don't know if I can help you on that part.
I've been asking for a motion support monkey forever.
Well, we make each of stuff when
If you can get a grant to pay for the monkey.
we're on board. We'll get matching.
You open the door, you gotta take
Don't bring that book with either.
Kane, you have everything?
I believe so. I'm still learning the process and everything, but I think Mike left us in a good position with P and Z and building. I do have some money budgeted now that we got the architectural standards kind of wrapped up with Chris, once we get done with the annexation, to really finalize the comprehensive plan too. So hopefully we get that done this FY. I think we're in good shape.
And Christian?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Gas once a month.
And Chief, you're the biggest one, so.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
sir.
know you got that, so you got the executive assistant.
Yes, that's down there.
You know, got it.
I'm crossing my fingers.
I got you. Well, as far as officers go, we're not looking to add any more officers. You know, who we
I
have.
mean, it's getting to be where I might have to dress hot enough in a dress. Yeah, we're good. We're good on everything. Thank you.
Well, it is a very nice place. I was just one thing, it's nice to see, I was having a conversation earlier, the government seems to always grow every year. And it's kind of hard to reel it back in, so it's nice to see that, we're not really growing, we're maintaining, so that's something I really appreciate from a alderman, from a citizen aspect, for all you guys are doing that.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I haven't got there yet. We know you got everything.
There's something that's probably gonna come out of the pipe. So our website and this is not we want this is happening, to us.
But it's in the budget. It's not-
We'll see. Well, yes and no.
Community.
Maybe. Our website and minutes software is essentially being sunsetted. And so we're talking to them and seeing what it's gonna be like going forward. So it's more of like an adjustment, not like a thing. We just don't know how much it's gonna cost yet, because apparently some AI is being introduced into it as well. And another thing, the big part, I don't know if this is, so ADA compliance is also coming down. So we've got about 2 years, 28 for our website to be completely ADA compliant. American Disability, basically, we have this, if you go to all these pictures, like any kind of, let me see a photo on the website. Someone can have like a screen reader or something like that. It basically has to say, so if you see like a photo of the mayor of the board of aldermen, right now it may just say photo or something like that. What it needs to say is photo of mayor, board of aldermen, sitting. So basically a blind person could see it or something like that. They have some technology that will basically go through and do it for you. The way he basically put it was, unfortunately, you start off a website, you're ADA compliant, but as the time goes on, just how things happen, you become out of ADA compliance. And it's going to become a federal law that we have till April 28th because of our size to get into compliance. The AI basically takes care of it. So you're talking about me basically having to either go through manually all the time to keep doing it. That's a lot of time versus an AI tool that's going to basically do it.
And we'd have to go back to every picture that's already on the website.
I don't know yet. We got to meet with them. That's what we're coming with. That one's technically.
AI agent.
No, it's not really an agent. It's just it's more of just like a tool that's going to be in the background running on the website itself. So we'll see, I don't know how much that'll look different, but the minutes will be different as well. That is something.
So they're basically going to take all the information and reconfigure it onto this new platform and then do some upgrades to where it's not us manually having to do it every single month. So we're pricing it out. There's little pieces that you can add. You don't have to have everything. So we're going to go through like a demo for it. This is brand new. We just found out about this like a week and a half ago. So it is right now. I think that amount like 3,000 or 5,000 is built into our budget just in case. But you know, it is really nice having Unicode software that essentially I can go in and take minutes. You know, it does all the you know, hyperlinks for you guys in your packets. You know, I'd like to keep that level of technology for us. I think it makes things a lot easier and streamlined. So, but we'll let you know as soon as we get a vote for it.
All right, so we've got another meeting scheduled for next Wednesday.
Yes. At 5:30, and I've made that update to the calendar.
So at the next meeting, Tim is gonna have a few little adjustments. It doesn't sound like an enormous amount of adjustments for us, based on the things that we've discussed today.
We need to look closer at the timing of
the
Bear Creek
issue.
and renewing the lease here.
Yes.
And Mayor,
Getting out along with the whole thing.
I would also ask that y'all look very closely at 195 at general admin. You know, there's been increases in legal fees, increases in contractual, technology, is a big one. You know, I think we're kind of getting close in 195, this year of getting close to running over budget.
Yeah. Flip to page 30.
When you say 195.
Flip page 33.
General administration,
Page 33. I'll give you
mainly
an update.
contractual services at general admin is what I'm concerned with. Like employment law, obviously, the more employees we get, the more personnel issues we may run into. You know, there's a question mark as far as legal expenses with annexation and with our litigation with Madison right now, with road money. You know, so there's a lot of what ifs, and I just need to make sure that we have enough cushion to get through next fiscal year with that. 195 is always the outlier.
Take a look at page 33. About the mid-page, professional fees, legal. You've got the notes, you see 120,000 under city attorney and discussed with John Scanlon. And you see for annexation, a couple lines down, 30,000 discussed with John Scanlon. You saw me, but I was on the phone at 5:28 and I was talking to John Scanlon. So I can tell you what those numbers, what he told me to put there for those numbers. So they're going to change. The 120,000 becomes 140,000. But the 30,000 becomes $2,500. So that changes. You don't necessarily, unless you want to make the note under planning and zoning, the budget, let's see. Try to find the page number relatively quickly.
28, go to contractual.
Page 28, the 15,000 discussed with John Scanlon is 17.5. In the same spot in court, which is probably page 12 or 13, that number is 22.5. I don't know if that changed, what effective that is, but those are the numbers I'm.
Under prosecutor?
Yeah.
So that 24 is what?
22.5.
Not gonna have much change at the bottom line, all of that. All right, so,
Can I ask one more question?
yeah,
I think that's fine. Miss-
hold on, wait.
I just have to ask with the salaries, is a 5% increase?
Oh, yeah, we didn't touch on salaries at all. What I built into personnel costs is kind of a worst case scenario, and we'll adjust as y'all see fit. But as Blue Cross Blue Shield, for instance, on health insurance premiums, as they tell us, or tell me it's got, I've got, this is built in a 3% cost of living adjustment across the board and a 10% increase in insurance, city paid insurance premiums. built into this budget.
And, you know, that's really an issue that we need to talk about from a policy perspective. It reminds me of Alderman Slay always wanted to talk about, do we start talking about merit-based pay versus across-the-board pay. That's an issue that, you know, we've just gone across the board the last several years. We've never done just a pure merit-based system or any hybrid combination of the two. So something for you guys to consider ahead of the next meeting about how we want to do that.
Have the performance reviews been completed?
They have.
Could the board review that?
Yeah, sure.
And
We're
I
gonna
can
circulate.
send them to you
We're gonna
in the next
circulate.
meeting in your packet.
I will tell you, that was the easiest job that I've got, is my part of it, going through the department heads. We've got, I'm telling you, sounding like a broken record, talking about how good our department heads are. Really good staff. You have more questions?
I just, gotta see if Mr. Young will do one thing for me. So we've got a breakdown for 12 mills, and I know you said we got some updated information. Will that be updated? Will that information be updated here?
No, that's already
It is
reflected.
It's already reflected in
Yeah.
here? I got you.
Yeah, the ad valorem revenue line item of 2,095,000, that takes into
So you're right.
consideration.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I just got that. Okay, that's fine. Would you give me a comparison for the next meeting to compare 12 mil versus 14 mil, the same thing?
Basically, Mr. Powell, if you
Yeah.
look, if you take
Add-
175,000.
Add 350,000 to 2,095,000.
to the revenue side, that's what you'd have.
All right.
Mayor, something
So
else.
if you consider that based on the numbers here, we're going, this is preliminary, 317 in the red. You can see how it would be.
Yes, sir. I'm ready. All right, very good. That's what I need. Thank you.
Sorry, one more thing. Something else to consider is the fire district also sent us a request this morning. So I want to make
That's
sure
in
you
here.
are aware of it.
Yep, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah, that's-
questions?
That's in the budget. Let's see, one thing about the assessed valuation.
What page is the fire?
They are, those assessed values
It's in
that
their, they have their own department.
board of supervisors approved yesterday.
41.
They're preliminary. There's an appeal process that anybody can come in and for the next month or so. Those will probably, we'll get final numbers probably the first week of August, hopefully by what would be workshop number 3, which is scheduled for August 6th. Hopefully we'd have those. There's the potential for those to change drastically, not usually, but since there was countywide reassessment this time around, a lot of people are not gonna like it. If people take the time to investigate what their appraisals have gone up. Remember, nobody's gonna see this reappraisal that just happened. They're not gonna get a tax bill till November or December. But the appeal process is the month of July. So take that for what it's worth. I had nothing to do with that. But if people are looking into it, if they know there was county-wide reappraisal, they may be looking and saying, okay, did my $300,000 house go to 310 or did it go to 400? And then they may appeal it. Honestly, I've never seen, I don't have a clue what the percentage, when you appeal, I don't know what your chance of having the number lower is. Very well would be close to 0 probably. But some big industries do it too. You know, if you're looking at a $12 million appraisal that went up to 15, it's possible that the county would take a look at it and drop it to 14 or something like that. But it's just what is. Point being, even our 2,095,900 number that's in there for millage, for ad valorem taxes could change just simply because the values aren't final yet. They're good 4 or 5 weeks away from being finalized.
So I think for next meeting, we ought to be focused on millage rate, raises, and how and if and how we're gonna arrive at what raises we want to give city personnel. And then, of course, Mr. Youngblood's gonna have all of the things we discussed about today to bring this in a little bit better focus. And obviously, if anybody's got any specific questions about any line item between now and then, we'll talk about those too. Okay, anything else for tonight?
We can get it before 4 o'clock of the day of the meeting. That'd
We
be
did
great.
have public comment to speak.
Hey, you heard Alderman, hey, we need to get this to them before the day of the meeting.
Yeah.
Earlier out.
The
And that
public
means,
or
Can you
us?
speak to
The public or us?
everybody?
no,
Oh, well, that's not, oh,
what we need is that for these materials to get to the Board of Aldermen earlier than the day of the meeting. And that requires everybody here, if y'all have any amendments to them, to get them to Lindsay and Scott so they can get them out.
We set a date, a deadline, like Friday.
The meeting's Wednesday?
The meeting's next Wednesday.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think if you get it to them by Monday, that'd be sufficient, would that be good enough for everybody?
You're talking about, in case any department head has a change, they need to have them to you
All
by
changes
Friday so
need
that
to
we
be
can get
in
something out on Monday.
I don't think the department heads got much to change about this. You've got some things to change based on things that we've discussed
Yeah,
tonight. But,
And if something comes up that y'all haven't thought of today, just please have them to me by 5 o'clock Friday at the
Yeah.
latest.
And it's easy enough to make these updates. It's just that when we come back on the 15th, there's still, the tax roll's not complete and so on and so forth. And if you can't get answers relative to Lone Wolf and if you can't get answers from Bear Creek, then we still have some variables.
Right.
Maybe not
If
very
there's
good.
anything that y'all would like to request me add to your Dropbox folder, I try to give you a bunch of new information too, like our bank statements and stuff to help you guys, salaries, let me know.
was that emailed? I know I did ask you for that.
Yeah,
Yes, it's in the Dropbox.
Oh, okay, got it.
we have our second meeting scheduled for next Wednesday. When's the third meeting scheduled?
August 6th.
August, I think
August
the first week in August.
Is legitimate need for us to meet Wednesday? Or can we just move it to the final meeting and all?
That's up to the board.
It's up to the board.
I see no reason to have a meeting next week. I mean, I think the department heads where they need to be, the next meeting can discuss millage rate.
Yeah, we'll
See
come
what we
closer
do.
to
So I would
having.
make a
Solid
motion that we.
I mean, if y'all are confident that it's pretty laid out, I mean, my only concern is I just don't want to get to August and have to shove a special call meeting in because we have a deadline and notice requirements.
But we're not gonna find anything else out next Wednesday different than what I know today.
True, other than me making a few edits. No,
So
you're
why
exactly
don't
right.
we do this then, unless there's objection? Let's circulate Mr. Youngblood's changes to this by Monday. Let's cancel the meeting. We don't have to cancel the meeting until Monday, right? So why don't we let the board see this? Let everybody understand, we're gonna cancel that meeting on Tuesday. Unless somebody says, I saw this on Monday and I really want us to have that meeting, okay? That'll be the way we do it.
Could we just combine next, like our regular board meeting with this, or does it have to be separate? I mean, I don't understand.
I mean, the board can take up any
Yeah,
item
the
they
board
want.
can take whatever item they want to, I think, but I don't think there's gonna be any need for it. I just wanna give y'all the opportunity to look at this on Monday. We'll cancel the meeting on Tuesday unless there's an objection.
And
Okay?
that's fine. I mean, typically we hold three just because if you're going through every line item,
Yeah.
detail, that's a lot of.
But our staff has got it so good at doing this.
Best thing, it becomes old hat first. I mean, and not over time. I mean, the first budget's virtually impossible and then it takes a while.
We have a citizen who wanted,
Yes, sir. Ms. Wyatt?
Judge Wine.
I am here as a citizen tonight, and I looked over the budget. I do have a couple questions for planning and zoning or public works. We allocated two separate different amounts to a dam repair. And it's not done. Have we paid those amounts out? Is that in your budget if we have to pay them out?
They come out of 195 or they come out of?
Yeah, it would come out of our 195, but
Oh,
no,
195.
so no expenditures have been made. We have not received any invoices to date. But it is planned that, but that amount is budgeted in FY 27
Okay.
for when we do receive it.
And
We're
do we-
talking Arrington Dam,
Yes.
113,000 is in the budget. It's in this proposed budget.
So that was the first, what about the second amount?
That's the combined one. So the
That's the
first one
amount.
was about 52,
Okay.
55, I believe,
Okay,
without looking at it closely, and then I think the next one's 58%. So it ended up being about.
Yeah, that was.
okay. do we have anything budgeted for any other future dams that may, to have a rainy day fund?
I'm not specific to, I mean, we have.
We don't have a
Christmas Eve, we
dam
have-
fund.
I want to say dam repair. We don't have a damn fund. Yeah, we have repairs and maintenance for drainage, that kind of thing, that we plan for, just routine maintenance of, stuff, which Chris could probably speak to a little better than me, but
We don't have anything planned for help with additional levy repairs,
yes.
not budgeted in next year, not budgeted this year either on our side. Mainly because there are no city-owned damage levies. They're all privately owned. So I think they'd be coming up case by case basis depending on what the board wants to do.
For quasi-public, that they're in the legal grant, but
Yeah,
there's been a case made that Arrington Dam is public or part of it.
quite a bit.
Okay. That's my question.
All right. Anything else from anybody? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Taylor reluctantly seconded, all in favor?
Everybody wants to hang out a little while.
Got no social life. Yeah, just stick with my social life.